Welcome to my channel Tech Set Go iPad Pro M5 Leaks and Rumors. Apple's biggest step toward foldables. The iPad Pro has always been Apple's flagship tablet, the device that blurs the line between laptops and portable computing. And now in 2025, we are on the verge of what could be one of the most important updates in iPad history. Recent leaks, an early M5 iPad Pro unboxing video, and insider reports are pointing toward not just another yearly refresh, but the quiet setup for something far more ambitious in Apple's roadmap. So let's dive deep into everything we know about the M5 iPad Pro. What changes you can realistically expect this year, and why this so-called minor update could actually be laying the groundwork for Apple's first foldable device. 1. The surprising leak. An iPad Pro M5 gets unboxed. It's not every day that we see an unreleased Apple product unboxed before its official launch, but that's exactly what just happened. A leaked video surfaced online showing what looks like the upcoming iPad Pro with the M5 chipset. From the footage, here's what we can confirm. The model shown is a 13 and iPad Pro in the new space black finish. The base storage starts at 256 gigabytes, and importantly, the device comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM. A big deal for multitasking on iPad OS 26. The design remains just 5.1 millimeters thin, making it one of the slimmest tablets in the world. The familiar features remain: a single rear camera, quad speaker system, and smart connector for accessories. The iPad Pro branding inscription on the back gone. Apple seems to be simplifying the back panel design. At first glance, you'd be forgiven for thinking it looks nearly identical to the M4 iPad Pro from 2024, but under the hood, there's a lot more going on. 2. The power of the M5 chip faster than ever. The real star to show here is the Apple M5 chip. Apple is making the unusual move of debuting this processor in the iPad Pro before it even comes to the MacBook Pro or Mac Studio. A sign of how centered the iPad has become to Apple's future. Based on Geekbench benchmarks that leaked alongside the video, here's what the M5 is bringing. 12% faster multi-core CPU performance compared to the M4, up to 36% faster GPU performance. A huge leap for creatives, video editors, and even gamers. Same 9-core CPU architecture, but built on TSMC's N3P3 nanometers process, giving better power efficiency and sustained performance. The base configuration comes with 12 gigabytes RAM, same as iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone Air, meaning multitasking in iPad OS 26 will be much smoother. Now you might be wondering, the M4 was already insanely powerful. Do we really need this? That's fair. For casual users, the M4 is more than enough. But the M5 is important because Apple is future-proofing the iPad Pro, with iPad OS 26 bringing real multitasking improvements, higher RAM capacity, and more pro-level apps like Final Cut and Logic, optimized for iPad. This performance jump won't go to waste. And let's not forget, Apple has been quietly pushing gaming on iPad, and with GPU gains of over 30%. The M5 could make the iPad Pro a serious portable gaming machine. 3. A dual front camera setup, gimmick or gamicker. Here's one of the more unusual rumors. The M5 iPad Pro may ship with dual front-facing cameras. According to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, Apple is testing a setup that includes both a portrait and a landscape front camera. Why? So that no matter how you're holding your iPad, you'll always get the best angle for video calls, selfies, and FaceTime. Now, the iPad already has a center stage, which automatically follows you around the frame during calls. So, is this necessary? That's debatable. Some argue it feels like overkill. Others think it's about preparing for the next wave of AR or A-driven applications where having multiple angles of your face could improve interaction. Personally, I think Apple should just bring the iPhone 17s 18M PP sensor to the iPad Pro instead of adding a second front camera. That would improve quality without adding redundancy. But either way, the dual camera rumor shows Apple is experimenting with new ideas for how people use iPads in hybrid work and creative environments. For why this year feels like a spec refresh. If you're expecting a radical redesign this year, don't hold your breath. The leaked unboxing video already confirms the design is largely unchanged. Same slim chassis, same button placement, same rear camera bump. Even the wallpaper in the video is unchanged from the M4 model. That might sound disappointing, But remember, the M4 iPad Pro from 2024 already gave us the first old iPad display with insane color accuracy and deep blacks. Thinner, lighter chassis, upgraded performance that was already overkill for most tasks. So yes, the M5 refresh feels iterative, but what makes it more exciting than a typical spec bump is that Apple is clearly laying the groundwork for massive shifts in iPad design and technology in the next 2 to 3 years. Apple's display supply chain, OLED expansion, and thinner bezels. One of the clearest signs of Apple's strategy comes from the supply chain. Reports from South Korea confirm that Samsung Display and LG Display are both mass-producing OLED panels for the new iPad Pro models. In M4 generation, Samsung handled the 11 inches panels, while LG supplied the 13 ones. But this year, both suppliers are working on both sizes, which shows Apple is diversifying its supply chain. Why does this matter? Because Apple is planning to expand OLED across the entire iPad lineup. iPad mini 2026 may get OLED first. iPad Air 2027 is expected to follow. Now here's the really interesting part. Apple is reportedly working with LG on chip-and-film CUF display tech. This manufacturing process allows the display drivers to be mounted closer to the screen edge, meaning thinner bezels and more compact devices without shrinking screen size. The leaked 5i iPad Pro won't have this, but future models will. It's part of Apple's strategy to gradually refine the iPad into a bezel-free, futuristic tablet. 6 foldable iPads. Apple's secret plan. Here's where things get exciting. Multiple reports suggest that Apple is actively developing foldable iPad prototypes. And everything we're seeing with the M5 iPad Pro, from old supply chain scaling to camera experimentation, looks like preparation for that. What we know so far, Apple is testing foldable iPads with screens up to 18.8 and unfolded. That would make them bigger than the 16-inch MacBook Pro when fully open. The fold type hasn't been confirmed. It could be vertical like a book or horizontal like a laptop. The target timeline rumors point to 2026 or 2027. Foldable devices are tricky. Samsung and Huawei already have them, but Apple is famously cautious. They won't release one until it's perfect. The M5 iPad Pro, though iterative on the surface, shows that Apple is building the foundation step by step. OLED scaling, CUF display tech, performance headroom, and new camera positioning. So while the M5 might look boring now, it could be the stepping stone to Apple's first foldable 7. Should you buy the M5 iPad Pro now? The million-dollar question? Should you upgrade? If you already own the M4 iPad Pro 2024, no, you're not missing much. The OLED display, performance, and design are still top tier. The M5's gains are nice, but not essential. If you're on an M1 or older iPad Pro, yes, the jump to OLED, better performance, thinner body, and iPad OS 2 OS X's multitasking upgrades will make a huge difference. If you're budget conscious, wait until the M5 launches, then grab an M4 at a discount. Third-party sellers will slash prices, making the M4 the best value buy. This year's refresh is incremental, but that's exactly why the M4 will become a bargain once the M5 drops. 8. The bigger picture. Apple's long-term iPad strategy. The iPad Pro M5 might not blow anyone away at launch, but Apple's moves here are deliberate. Behind the scenes, they're setting up OLED across all iPads within the next 3 years. Thinner bezels using COF display technology, foldable iPads possibly by 2026, custom Apple modems M1C1 coming to iPads for better connectivity, AI-powered multitasking through iPad OS 26 and beyond. All of this points to Apple's vision of the iPad not just as a bigger iPhone, but as a new category entirely. One that merges tablets, laptops, and foldables into one futuristic device. Final thoughts? The iPad Pro M5 2025 is shaping up to be one of Apple's most misunderstood products. On the surface, it looks like a boring spec refresh. Slightly better performance, maybe a dual front camera, and not much else. But if you zoom out, you can see Apple carefully assembling the pieces of a much bigger puzzle. OLED scaling, display innovations, foldables, AI-driven, multitasking, and cross-device energy with Macs, iPhones, Vision Pro. This year's iPad Pro may not be the MMOSD exciting at launch, but it could very well be remembered as the tablet that quietly set the stage for the foldable revolution. So, the real question is, will you upgrade to the M5 iPad Pro now, or hold out for the game-changing iPads coming in just a couple of